Thank you for checking out the time tracking database by WaterWebWorks. It's free to use as a template for your own application. This tool is provided as is, along with these videos with information on setup, maintenance, management, and the user experience. If you'd like assistance customizing it for your use, our rates are posted on our TeamDesk expert listing, and you can contact us there.
Next thing we want to look at is this dashboard. And technically, this dashboard is what I would call pretty fluff or controlling, and it looks nice. But if we want to look at it technically, you can run your timesheet simply by a person going in here and saying new time. I was in the office and it was me from this time to this time. Save it, and you've imported it. You don't want people to do that, because the secret to having a good database is to limit what people can actually do. So people will make mistakes, and when I say a good database limiting to what people can do, that means limiting yourself as well. So you don't want to have any drop down things that could be drop downs be type ins, because you won't get them right every single time. I don't get them right every single time. So we want to limit this. In fact, if one of the things you should do to edit this database is figure out how to prevent a user from actually entering a new record this way. And that's something you can do. I didn't do it, but you can certainly do it and should do it. We did very marginal security on this, because security can get very complicated. You need to do it one step at a time and see if it works, and then do the next step and see if it works till you get it like you want it. And for the most part, in my opinion, security is to make it easier for people to enter things, and that's what this dashboard is for. So this dashboard does multiple things. If we go and look at the columns on here, it's actually pretty simple when we look at the columns. So we just have a few columns going down the list, and if we look at the dashboard and actually do a cheater thing, which your users should not be able to see, and do a list all, and look here, look, these columns are empty, all except today's date. They're empty, and they should be empty. Unless a person is signed into the office, they should be empty. This particular data table is simply holding information temporarily, and then once the event that is being time recorded happens, it then puts it in the time record and erases itself again. So what we have here is the current status. That's a pretty thing that's used just to tell people, go back to the dashboard, right here, the current status, to say, hey, I'm busy and stuff. I added it because you can, but it's not permanently saved anywhere. So you're not going to have a record of permanent statuses across the database. Expected return, same thing. It's just there as a note to people. It's temporary, and it's not even recorded anywhere. The rest of these are holding the information: start, stop time, use timestamps. It makes your life better in most cases. The type, which is in office, we can look at it real quick. See, in office, lunch, PTO. Filling those in here is a great thing to do because it makes things easier. We link up with the user so we know who's doing it. Today's date is a formula for today. So when we look in here, it puts today's date here. It always has today's date in there. So when we look at the list records, it'll always be filled in. Everything else is blank. When you look at this, you should only have one of these per person. That's it in your company. If somebody leaves the company, you delete them in here. This is one of the few places you actually delete somebody, but in here. This is just a holding table for this temporary data to make it easier. Um, the pay history here is pulling all this data from the pay stub, and that's another pretty, in fact, you're probably going to want to move it, because what it's doing is it's putting these pay periods in here, and I have nothing in there right now that limits it. So it would just keep growing and growing. After a couple of years, you would have 600 of these right here, and your sign in, sign off would be way down underneath. So you'd be scrolling for a long time. I put that in there to show it can be done. You may want it there. You may want to limit it to the last 3 pay periods or the last pay period. Go for it. I recommend it. It's a change you should make. This is not going to be endurable for more than a couple months. So it's something you will change. Now everything else on here, the way I made this view work is 2 things. What I have is 2 separate views. Multiple views, but the summary is actually a tile view. The summary is a tile view, and I put here, I ignored the image, put the username, today's date there for each one, and then these columns here. And it's showing up as a tile, and the important thing is only show the user property is the current user. So the user is the current user is what we're going to show. That's why we only want 1 record per employee. If you don't, you'll have 2 tiles showing. So that's it. And then the office status is simply just show these properties that are ongoing. That's it. And then you show those, and how do you make them both show in the same thing is under dashboards. And I just took the default dashboard in here, and I added the summary, the office summary. These 2 bottom text boxes are just simply our advertising. Remember, hey, we are for hire. So that's down there. Go in there, and you'll want to remove them, but you're going to have to remove them. So you have to pay attention to our videos. It's a way to get a little bit of plugs in for our business. Anyway, so you show these, and notice this one's in the 2nd column, so the status is over to the side, and it makes a nice little place for people to sign in, sign out, and see what everyone else in the company is currently doing. So back, and then everything is controlled in the rules with custom buttons from here. And these buttons, I can't explain every one of them. There's a lot of them. The important ones to understand are, if you sign in for a day, all it does is set your start time to now and the type to in office. And you'll only see that button when the start is blank. So you can only start the day when it isn't already started. Now, a lot of these, when you sign out, so if you sign out for the day, what it's then going to do, and this is the filter, so when it's showing it to you, and that's after the day has started and when you're in the office, okay, we get this little thing that sets the start out time as now, so that's the stop time. And then what it does is it creates a new record in times, and it puts the start, the stop, in office, sets the user property to you, and sets the note for null, because I was just using this note to display on the screen here. You can actually pass the note over if you want to. And then, this is important, we clear everything. You signed out for the day, and all those spots are cleared. No, 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 no. We just took each one of these and set them to nothing. So that's what we've done. And that's important. So when we do something like sign out for lunch, Okay, so we go out for lunch. What it actually does is a whole bunch of things. It sets our timeout. It records the time in office, poof, into the time. So it makes a new time entry, clears everything, and then makes another start, but sets it to lunch. I hit remove, hit edit. So if we look at here, it's making now. It sets the type for lunch, and it just sets the expected return in 1 hour, just because we could do that. And then I hit the back button. We're waiting for it. Back button again. And then when we come back from lunch, we're in from lunch, and what we do is kind of just the opposite. We set this time to now again, the stop time to now, and then we make a time record of that. But this time the time record is going to have the type of lunch. Clear everything, and then we set ourselves back in the office. Boom, boom, boom. Now, when we do time off things, that's a little different because vacations are not recorded from this front thing, and there's some good reasons for it. But what this button do is just simply sets us up to be vacation, and what it does is it asks you the start time. That's maybe it's starting tomorrow, your end of the day, and you click I'm going to be on vacation from tomorrow, and I'm expected to return on such and such a date, and you leave a little note like, haha, suckers, I'm out of here, and you're out. You're on vacation. When you come back from vacation and you click stop vacation, it does nothing except clear all the columns. It sets everything to 0. It does not make a time record at all. So that's because PTOs need to be approved. So they're actually handled someplace else. All this setting yourself for out of the office for anything related to PTO, like vacation and stuff, is in here so you can set it so it shows up on the office status. And that's the only reason we put it in here, is so you can let everybody know that you're on vacation. So it makes sure everyone knows that they're not recording it there.